Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Second time in 3 years, Villanova, your 2018 national champion. DiVincenzo, three on the left wing. Good again!
Villanova's among the elites. There's no question.
He had two Wolverines in his face, and he did not care.
Villanova's here to stay. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Coach Jay Wright is a Hall of Famer, without a doubt.
Westwood One NCAA Radio Network.
Golic and Wingo with you on a Tuesday morning, a championship Tuesday morning, ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here with you. Jay Bilas will join us in just a little bit. Next hour, Bruce Pearl, Auburn head coach, will join us a little bit as well to talk about what he saw in Villanova and where they go from here. By the way, we've given Cliff, Mike, a lot of love on this show.
Yeah, we have.
For deservedly so, right? Mm-hmm. For doing a really good job mixing the music on the board and really making things interesting.
He does a great job spinning the vinyl.
He does. If they ever would do that with a moonrock needle. So sure. Absolutely. Although vinyl's making a comeback.
I know.
Vinyl is making a comeback.
Buddy.
However, our good friend Dan Stanzik just informed us, our producer, that Cliff is that kind of fan.
Yeah.
Cliff, would you like to explain what we're talking about?
I'm all in on Jay Wright going to the Sixers and coaching the Sixers to the championship.
Okay.
Do you understand where the Sixers are right now?
Yeah.
Through the process?
They're 46-30, but Jay Wright will take us over the top. I love Brett Brown, but hey, man.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think you love Brett Brown at all.
No, you don't love Brett Brown at all.
They've won 10 in a row.
I'm a big Brett Brown fan. But,
oh, you are?
Yeah.
So big you want to cast him aside.
I'm a bigger Jay Wright fan, so therefore Jay Wright to the Sixers.
So Brown is doing this actually in the NBA right now. Jay Wright has never done it on the NBA level, yet you want to oust this guy and bring in Jay Wright.
Hey, Jay Wright's coached a lot of NBA players, so it's like a lateral move. Except,
has he?
You know, now he's on a higher level with playing
a lateral move?
Yeah.
How did you get this job in sports?
It was the music.
Having hot takes.
By the way, no, we don't do that here. We have reasonably nuanced opinion based on information. By the way, Bubble Boy Devin is now calling you a Philly fraud.
I think we're going to do that.
Yeah.
How about a Philly fraud? You can't do that.
Yeah, well, I didn't. He did. So I just so you know.
I agree completely.
Yeah. This is a Stugatzian take.
I hate fans like you that do that.
Yeah.
Oh, you hate me?
I hate fans that do that, and you're doing this right now, so I hate that part of you. And hate's a strong word.
Yeah, it is a very strong word.
Yeah.
I don't know why you use it against me.
I wouldn't say I hate.
Yeah, it might be a little fun. I hate that take. How about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm curious as to why you want to go down that road when the other thing is working. It's working. You guys are in the playoffs for the first time since like the 40s in the Sixers. It's all good.
Hey, man, I take things to the extreme, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the old saying? You don't rob from Peter to pay Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Or you don't rob from Brown to pay Villanova?
Or you don't do dumb things.
Exactly.
Could be a good
Or
saying.
don't have stupid suggestions.
There you go.
There you go.
Boom.
So we love you. We just have a disagreement on this particular point that you are dealing with. All right. We got a lot to get to because Jay Bilas will join us in a few minutes and have a more reasonably nuanced opinion on what to do with Jay Wright at Villanova. But let's get started with what's trending. Mike, did you ever think we'd have a LeBron versus Nick Saban showdown?
Wow.
How about this one?
This is amazing. So last week, the official Twitter account for Alabama football released a trailer for what they're calling Shop Talk.
Yes.
With Alabama alums like Julio Jones joining Saban Saban and other football players for an off-the-cuff roundtable discussion in a barbershop setting. So,
sounds great.
Okay, Shop Talk.
Sounds awesome.
Well, it turns out that LeBron James and Uninterrupted has a copyright, trademark, and other rights for the term The Shop. The Shop was developed by James and co-founder Maverick Carter. Its first episode had like over 4 million views. So basically, they sent a letter to Alabama, and the letter goes on to invite a conversation with Alabama before rushing into legal proceedings. So Alabama doing Shop Talk LeBron James and company is saying you are infringing upon the shop.
Yeah, I'm not buying that at all.
Listen, I am not a trademark lawyer, though I have dealt with one. I'll say my son Jake has 3 patents on a cooler with some seats and some pretty cool things that are out there, but I don't know enough about this. So I've dealt with patent lawyers a bit, but this, obviously, I sit there and look at this and I say, shop talk and the shop.
And they're both in a barbershop.
So
here's my problem with that. That's like saying, hey, ESPN was the first sports network, and no other show can have a sports show talking about sports, right?
This is going to be interesting.
That seems to not be a thing.
Again, the headline here is the letter invites conversation with Alabama before rushing into legal proceedings. From Alabama, from Monica Watts for their Vice President of Communications, we are in the midst of reviewing this matter, which just came to our attention this morning.
I'm all in for this show.
Wow.
I want this to be on like either Judge Judy or the People's Court. The plaintiff.
And the only
LeBron James.
And the only people I want talking about it are Nick Saban and LeBron James.
Correct. They're the ones that have to get up there in front of the judge with Rusty the bailiff and say why this is this and this is that, and they have to accept the judge's decision.
Oh my God, that's gold.
How great would that be?
That is just
gold.
gold.
The only, if they're going to go down this road, that's the only way it can end.
Yeah.
It has to be Nick Saban presenting the case for Alabama and LeBron on the other side saying why, just because I have something like this, no one can ever do anything like this again.
Awesome.
It doesn't seem like that's a legal win for them.
It doesn't, but again, man, we only play lawyers on the radio
I
and
am
TV.
not a lawyer. I'm just a caveman.
There you go.
I don't quite understand. Well, the Yankees are going to try again because Mother Nature said, I don't think so here in the Northeast. They were supposed to have their home opener on Monday, snow out. So now they're going to try it again against the Rays, 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Hey, a lot of snow, a little more snow than I thought we were going to get. But again, I know in New York and around here it got to mid to upper 40s, and most of it melted, just like they said it was going to. But it snowed just enough, obviously, to not have this game because this is not a game you want to play in snow. So we'll see. That'll go on today and, take another day off of work as far as I'm concerned.
The good news is, though, most of the snow is melted, and we could have more coming Friday and Sunday. Spring will never come.
Thanks for that.
Spring will never come here in the Northeast.
You were all up on spring last week. You were all chippy about it.
It's all my fault.
Yeah, now look at you.
I said it at that time. It's all my fault.
All right.
So that is what's trending. You know who's always trending?
Always trending.
Because he's a historian.
Yes, he is.
He's a noted soothsayer.
Mm-hmm.
He says sooths. Our esteemed lawyer, Esquire, and college basketball analyst, Jay Bilas, now joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line from San Antonio. I have to say, Jay, I saw you in that one of those get-ups, I can't remember which show it was on, where you had on like the turquoise and black cowboy shirt and the cowboy hat. How much money did they pay you to actually wear that outfit?
Oh, they pay me to wear everything I wear. I can't even distinguish how much each item is, but that was low level.
Because I have to say, when I think Jay Bilas, I think black and turquoise Western shirt and cowboy hat. That's the first image I go to.
Forget that, Jay. That shot you took, the basketball shot, was incredible. Throwing across the
Riverwalk.
Thank you very much.
Dirty Creek, as Charles Barkley calls it, the Dirty Creek.
Yeah.
He says there ain't no rivers in Texas. That's nothing but a dirty creek.
Yeah, Charles really working on the tourism there in San Antonio.
I take umbrage with that as my father's from San Antonio, so we're going to call that the Riverwalk.
But what a shot! What a shot that was! I mean, you had to be just absolutely stunned. How far was it technically? What was the distance?
It was 110 feet, but there was I was elevated. So when I first saw it, when I saw sort of the script of this thing, I thought it was going to be a half-court shot, honestly. So I thought, okay, half-court shot, that's no big deal. I could do that. Jay Will does it all the time. How hard could it be? So when I got there, I looked at Reese Davis and I said, dude, this may not happen. I mean, you got to be kidding me. And after, when it went in, I was very excited but more relieved, honestly.
Well, I'm glad we got that big shot out of the way so we didn't have to talk about the other stuff which went on Monday night as Jay Bilas is with us. So now that we have Villanova cruising in many ways to a third national championship since 1985, and we're talking about them with the same likes as Duke, North Carolina, these other Kentucky, these other programs that have won multiple championships in that time frame. where are they now in the pantheon of like programs when we look at the best of the best in college basketball?
They're right up on the top shelf, Trey. And, it's funny. It seems like we've been talking, and I don't mean you guys, but just sort of there's been a lot of talk that, hey, does Villanova belong with the Blue Bloods, as if they came out of some tiny little conference. I mean, Villanova has been a Big East team forever. And I realize the old Big East broke up, and it's a new Big East, with the Catholic Seven and all that stuff. But, Villanova has been playing with the big boys forever. And they've done extraordinarily well. Now, could you say before this year, because we're in a counting culture and you have to count championships in order to put things together, could you say before this year, would you put them in the same breath with North Carolina and Duke and UCLA and all that stuff? Maybe they'd be a little further down the list than that. But in the expansion era, since we went to 64 teams, they're one of only 5 programs to win 3 or more, and that puts him at the top level. It puts Jay Wright at the very top level, and he's now Jay Wright's the torchbearer for college basketball going forward, because Coach K and Roy Williams, the other guys that are active that have multiple championships, they're staring down the end of their careers at some point in the relatively near future. And Jay Wright he's only 55, 56 years old. He's got a long time left in this game.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I know that the thought is, where does he go? And he talked about how he loves Villanova, been there forever. And a lot of people see if there's a move, maybe it's to the NBA. Who knows? That's for another time. As far as the game last night, this was my thought, Jay, is I thought Villanova would win, and there was the hope that Michigan, could they pull it off? Could they keep it close? But I think in everybody's mind, what we saw last night was kind of the expectation. I'd like to know if that was your expectation, and where in that game you said, yeah, Michigan just not coming back from this.
My expectation was that Villanova would win, but I thought it would be a close game. And Jay Williams said from the beginning he thought it was double digits and they'd walk away with it. He was right. But as we got toward halftime, when DiVincenzo came in, and Dante DiVincenzo is not a secret. He's the 3rd leading scorer for Villanova this year. He averaged about 13 a game. He's their 2nd leading assist guy on the season. I think he played the 3rd or 4th most minutes as the 6th man. So he wasn't a surprise. But when he came in and started knocking perimeter shots down, he's a very good shooter. He made 83s going into that game and went 5 for 7 in it. But you just didn't expect that. When he picked up the slack, because I thought Villanova struggled a little bit early, I think they were one of their first 9 from 3, and he came in and started burying shots and making great defensive plays. I mean, that block he had,
oh my gosh,
where he went up with 2 hands. I mean, he's such a great athlete and so explosive. But that was like, I made the comparison last night. We were sitting out, it was like Timothy Mozgov. And not size-wise, because that guy's huge, but a big guy going up with 2 hands to block a shot and just going straight up. He did that as a little guard, and you knew then that you didn't think Michigan was going to come back, and because Michigan's not a great offensive team, and Villanova is, and offense. We say defense wins championships. Defense gives you the opportunity to win championships. But if you can't score, you're not going to win, and they can really score. That was really impressive.
Well, that was their modus operandi through the entire tournament, the entire year. They were the scoring leader for most of this season. Jay Bilas with us, our noted basketball historian. By the way, that block by DiVincenzo, he blocked with both hands. That was the best part. He blocked with the right hand and then got it back with the left hand. And I know this comparison isn't apples to apples, Jay, but I think you'll appreciate it because DiVincenzo did come off the bench. He was only averaging about 13 points a game, and he pours in 31. As I was watching this unfold in the national championship game, my mind went back to 1985 when Harold Jensen, who was not the player that Dante DiVincenzo was at Villanova, I get that, but he was only averaging about 4 points off the game, came off the floor against Georgetown, was 5 for 5 from the floor, and knocked down big shot after big shot in helping Villanova to their first title. I couldn't help but see some of the similaries there.
Yeah, I guess so.
By the way, that's Jay's way of saying no way in hell, but I appreciate you pretending.
No, I hadn't thought about that. That's a good call. I thought more to Luke Hancock, who came off the bench against Michigan in 2013. And before DiVincenzo's performance, Luke Hancock had scored the most points off the bench. He was the most outstanding player. He scored 22 off the bench. And, nobody's ever put 31 off the bench in the Final Four. I mean, that's an extraordinary performance that Dante DiVincenzo had, and I thought it's an extraordinary team in a lot of ways because they really don't seem to care which one of them does it in any given game, and they don't care who, as long as it's one of us. And they've done it all year long. And, they lost a couple games here and there. I can't remember what their record was, 35, 36, 4, whatever it was. But the last month, I don't think in the month of March they won a game by less than double digits.
They didn't.
Once we hit March, they were beating everybody, but still went to work with the same attitude and mentality that they had when the season started. It's really an impressive group.
Well, that's the comparison there, Jay. Jay Bilas is with us. The only other NCAA champions to do that, win every game from March on in double digits, the 1956 Dons of San Francisco with Bill Russell, and then Kareem's 1967 UCLA. I mean, that's the kind of rarefied air we're seeing from this Villanova team.
Yeah, they set themselves apart in this tournament, and in a season where I think we were talking about there may not be a great team. And we were probably doing that to perhaps justify the fact that we had so many, unranked teams beat ranked teams, and things appeared unstable throughout the course of the year. Who can figure out who's the best team? Well, Villanova figured it out for us, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't refer to Villanova as a great team. They proved that they're a great team.
So, Jay, as we move forward with this thing, and you'll work the draft, I mean, this is a team with a number of juniors. Looks like Mikal Bridges, I believe, ranked number 10. I'm sure he's going to go. And nobody else ranked in the first round of this group. Do you foresee anybody else outside of Bridges going to the draft? And if not, what kind of team they coming back with?
I think you'll see Jalen Brunson look at it really seriously because he's a junior, he's graduated. I think there's a very good chance that he's going to go, but who knows? We don't know that. I think Mikal Bridges is going to go, and those guys both juniors. That it seems like the right time for them after having won 2 championships. So they'll probably wind up going. Who knows? Jay Wright's recruited very well. Now whether they're championship caliber next year, to me, isn't the issue. They'll be up at the top of their league, and that's really the test. Like, are you giving yourself the opportunity to knock on the door? And whether that happened, Florida won 2 under Billy Donovan. They kept knocking at the door. They went to the Final Four in 2014. They've been to Elite Eights, all that stuff. And I think you'll see that happen. And everybody says, hey, you can't have one and dones, can't do this, no McDonald's All-Americans, all that. Villanova's got pros on that team. They've got a number of pros. Dante DiVincenzo, whether it's this year or whenever, he's going to play in the NBA. Omari Spellman's going to play in the NBA. They've got pros, and maybe not McDonald's All-Americans, but they got pros. And I think you'll see those two guys take a hard look at it. But Bridges, I think, will be gone.
Jay Bilas with us this morning talking about what we saw from Villanova. And we've sort of had this running joke with you, Jay, the entire tournament long, how different it was and how, your counter was. We've sort of seen this before. So when you look at this tournament in total, what do you think we'll remember it for the most? Will it be Loyola and Sister Jean? Will it be Villanova's dominance? Or will it be the historic one losing to a 16 or, quite frankly, a 64 or 68 in UMBC?
I think we'll always remember it first for Villanova. I think the champion is the one that the accomplishment resonates and remains the longest. So that'll be number one. I think we will remember Loyola. The Sister Jean stuff, I think, will actually fade in time, and we'll remember the fact that they were at 11 that got there.
Right.
And one of the 4 that's ever done that to this point. And well, obviously, I think we will remember UMBC. I don't know that people will necessarily remember, who was the coach or who were the players, but we'll always remember the first time that a 16 lost to a 1, because it may be a long time before it happens again. The odd thing about that, as you guys probably know, is the margin of victory in those games is growing. So as we try to say parity to explain upsets, which is if we have parity now, we've always had it. We can't explain how is the margin growing. The 1 versus 16 games were closer years ago than they are now. We had overtime games, we had 1-point games, so we don't see those anymore. So it's an extraordinary accomplishment by UMBC that we'll remember for a long, long time. And now we'll always say, hey, you can't just pencil in the 1 seed because, hey, lightning did strike. Who knows? That kind of thing.
Jay, as far as college basketball as a whole, and maybe football will jump into this as well, we saw that FBI probe before the tournament started really grab the headlines, and it's kind of not been in the headlines. Does it come back to the headlines? Where does that go as we head into the college basketball offseason?
It'll head back into the headlines when something happens in the case, clearly. But, Mike, it's a great question because it's actually surprised me. We had this sort of seismic event that happened in September with the FBI stuff coming out, the arrests that were made, and then the indictments that came down. And the truth is nobody cares. All the fans want their games. And if certain programs got caught up in something, assistants, the fans don't care. They just don't. Fans of a rival may point at them and say something snarky, but nobody cares. And as we got toward the end of the season, the NCAA, and by NCAA, when I say NCAA, I don't just mean Mark Emmert and his office in Indianapolis. I mean all the member institutions. They always say the NCAA is the member institution, so I mean all of them. The NCAA, man, they didn't let anything mess with this tournament. Yeah. So when there was news that came out, all those guys got cleared in 24 hours. Nothing was going to mess with this tournament. Nobody cares. And so all we're going to see is with the Rice Commission and going forward, we'll have news from that, but it's not going to stop this money train from going down the tracks. Like, no games are going to get canceled. Nothing's going to happen in that regard. This business is going to keep going. But they will use it. The NCAA will use it to forward an agenda. And I think you may hear it under their breath, but they're going to say, let's not let this crisis go to waste, and let's do what we want to do. And I think they're going to double down on the policies they already have.
Yeah, we'll see what happens going forward. We've been sort of distracted with the shiny object of the tournament going forward. All right, Jay, now that the tournament is done, it's one of the great weeks in sports. It seamlessly translates into the Masters. I know you're a big golf guy. We've been asking all our guests this week, who do you like this week? Roy Williams was leaning Jordan Spieth, then went Tiger Woods. Jim Boeheim noted Bubba Watson. Who do you like?
Well, I would love to see Tiger Woods do really well and be in contention, and I think there's a very good chance he can be. You know how well he does there, even when he made his comeback years ago after the car crash and all that stuff. I think he finished in the top 10, maybe even top 5. So I hope he does well. But I like Justin Thomas in this one, the Alabama Crimson Tide grad. I like Justin. I think he's going to do really well. I think he'll get a green jacket out of this.
Look, he's got a couple of wins already this year. Came close to a third in that World Golf Championship where he lost in the playoff to Phil. Jay always bringing the historical context. There's no question about that. Jay, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News on a championship Tuesday morning in the city of Philadelphia. Something they're getting used to, I guess. It is amazing what has happened in Philadelphia since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Villanova went 14-3 down the stretch, won the national title, as we said, winning all these games by double digits. The 76ers are 21-5 since the Eagles won the Super Bowl, best record in the East, and they've won 10 straight, although Cliff wants to get their head coach fired. That's who he is. The Flyers have gone 16-6-5. They're 6th in the NHL. They entered that stretch 19th in points. And, of course, the Phillies, they're 1-2, but, yeah, they did sign Jake Arrieta. So it's like The Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl championship is the gift that keeps on giving for the entire city of Philadelphia.
The adrenaline rush keeps on going, fueled by
Yes,
cheesesteaks.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it keeps it all going.
And some free beer for that Super Bowl parade.
Yeah, dilly.
Our good friends at Anheuser-Busch took care of those people. Now, this hour of Golic and Wingo is brought to you by La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book at LQ.com and win at business. So we're in this transition period, Mike, out of the winter sports realm and moving forward into the spring sports realm. We have the championship game done in college basketball and women's basketball. And now we have the Masters this weekend, which is really when everybody thinks, oh, it's happening. We're finally getting through winter, although we're probably going to get 3 more feet of snow.
Yeah, between the Masters and the start of baseball, you think spring is finally here.
It's coming.
Yeah.
And then, of course, once spring is here, you get into the draft.
Right.
So, and that gets you excited, and then we get into the summer months, and then it's all about football. So we're building up to what should be a really good time. And we're in this period in the NFL, which I call the player procurement era, where everybody is micro-scrutinized and micro-analyzed. And one of those guys that we knew this was going to happen to him going into the draft is former UCLA quarterback Josh Rosen. Look, we've heard this from a bunch of people. Does he really love football? How is he into it? He has other things on his mind. And so he's going to have to deal with that going forward. Well, it's coming now from a source very close to him, and that would be his former head coach at UCLA, Jim Mora. In a recent NFL Network episode, they asked Jim Mora who he would take number 1 overall in the draft. And he didn't say his former quarterback, Josh Rosen. He said Sam Darnold, the crosstown rival, and he tried to explain why.
Because of fit, I would take Sam Darnold if I were the Cleveland Browns. You know, I think that that blue-collar, gritty attitude, I think his teammates will love him. I think the city will love him. He'll say the right things. He'll come in and he'll represent well. I think he kind of represents what Cleveland is. And then if I was one of the New York teams, I'd take Josh like that. I think they're both going to be great pros.
So a lot of people looked at that and said, well, that's odd that your own head coach isn't campaigning for you to be number 1 overall. And we actually played it on our show, and we kind of understood what he was saying, right? In that context. We
understood what he was saying, but it still seemed a little bit odd. Now, again, the other side is, do you want your coach just go out and lie and say, my guy's the best no matter what, he can fit on any team? There's that side of it, and then there's, well, when a coach speaks the truth, but then you dive a little deeper and you think, well, why is he saying the things he's saying? I
mean, it's certainly a different approach than what Dabo Swinney had said about Deshaun Watson last year. He's going to be the next Michael Jordan.
Right.
And, of course, we had the great point that he actually scored more points in a game for the Houston Texans than Jordan ever did his rookie year in the NBA for the Bulls. So that was one instance. But then it goes a little farther, and Jim Mora in a Sports Illustrated Monday Morning Quarterback podcast had this to say about Josh Rosen. He needs to be challenged intellectually so he doesn't get bored. He's a millennial. He wants to know why. Millennials, once they know why, they're good. Josh has a lot of interests in life. If you can hold his concentration level and focus on only football for a few years, he will set the world on fire. He has that much ability. So that's you hear a lot of that from coaches going into the draft. For example, there's a lineman, the defensive lineman out of Florida, who the coaches are saying about him, boy, he has everything he needs, and when he puts it together, he's going to be great. That's a nice way of saying he didn't put it together for us, and we're kind of disappointed that he didn't. So when you copy what Jim Mora said in this podcast, along with what he said on the NFL Network, you get the feeling that Jim Mora might just not be the biggest Josh Rosen fan.
Yeah, he's not doing Josh any favors at all. And this is what NFL teams do. They try to, turn every stone. And certainly talking to the head coach, your head coach from college, is a big stone you want to turn and look under. And yeah, I don't think Mora is doing him any favors. And a lot of people are going to say, why? Is he speaking the truth? Is this how he is? Also, last I checked, every other quarterback in this draft is a millennial, unless they're just old souls that we don't know about.
Or have had a brain transplant.
Yeah, but they are millennials. To me, this, and I'm reading between the lines, and I'll get into what's going to happen now. That's the most important thing. Is to me, this is that Jim Mora, I don't think really liked the way Rosen maybe dealt with the coaches there in kind of his comments where you have to challenge him. Maybe Rosen picked things up pretty easily, is a smart kid, and didn't struggle a lot with the college playbook, and maybe spoke about that behind closed doors. And Mora didn't like that talk about his coaches possibly. I think there is something deeper there to where I am not really concerned what Mora says as far as all this, because if you want to talk about being intellectually challenged, well, when you put a playbook, especially for a quarterback, in front of a quarterback for the NFL, that's going to take care of a lot of things. Nobody really is just digesting that and saying, "Oh, this is a breeze." Some people would say, "Well, Peyton Manning would be one that could." Peyton Manning, you get rare birds out there,
but he threw 26 interceptions. His rookie
sure
year.
did. Guys who just have an understanding of the game. Josh seems to be a very confident guy, and quite honestly, I think him and Mora butted heads, and I think this is Mora's way of kind of, I don't want to trash the guy, but I'm going to kind of say it this way. And while we're all sitting back going, okay, doesn't really dig the guy, sitting there trying to say, well, I think this, but this, to me, it all comes down to what we're going to see now, what we're going to see in individual trips, what teams invite these players, specifically now these quarterbacks, and what they do with them. And then if we get some information, that's to me, when our insiders, if they get that kind of information, or people that we may know, or as former players that we know, coaches, to try and talk to and get the information, once these quarterbacks go visit a team and it's on the team's agenda, how did that quarterback look? How did that quarterback do? That's when you're going to get some, outside of their game tape, this is the best information you're going to get when you get them in your facility, but it's on your dime, not on the player's dime. That's the other 0.5% of this, as opposed to their play on the field.
Hey, look, Mora has since put out on Twitter, look, don't get it twisted. Here's what I'm saying. I get that, but if you were all in on the kid, you could have said, I'm all in on the kid, right? And that didn't happen. So let's just be honest about that. And he's not the first guy to do it. I mean, Deshaun Kaiser, when he came out, Brian Kelly said, I'm not so sure about a couple of things. When Mark Sanchez left, Pete Carroll said he would have benefited a lot from coming back in school another year. Yeah,
name me the junior quarterback that's come out that's done well in the NFL. He could use another year.
But by putting this out there, you're going to get some reactions, including, oh my God, a legendary one about Josh Rosen from our own Stephen A. Smith.
So I got to worry about him being bored? I got to worry about the number 3 overall pick, who I'm paying millions to, not getting the job done for me because of boredom? Now, I understand the New York market has a lot of things going on. That could also be distraction or distractionary. Because, again, if you're in New York City and there's a lot to do, you might find interest in those other things just as much as football, which means that you're not locked in and zeroed in on the one ultimate task at hand. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I don't feel good about that quote. Not if I'm the New York Jets. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Speaking of getting distracted, all I heard there is, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Stephen
the
A.
rest was just loud noises.
Stephen A. Don't worry. Yeah. Don't be concerned if you're the Jets.
Don't take the bait, man.
Yeah, do not.
This being smart is good if you're a quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about that. No one ever said, you know what? I want my quarterback dumber. Name me the scout or player personnel. If only our quarterback were stupid, we would have had a better chance at winning.
He'll be challenged just fine. And if there does seem to be an arrogance about him, okay. Yeah. At that quarterback position.
You want swag. What are we talking about Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
We love his swag.
Yeah. But all of a sudden,
we're in this crazy time, Mike, where everybody has this confirmation bias.
But this is what we do.
This
is what happens. Everything gets torn apart from the end of the last time you throw an actual pass or run an actual play on the field to the draft. You get torn apart in shorts and in a T-shirt. Everything is extracted. Everything is commented on, and it gets to be too much. It gets to be way too much on where we go.
You know what I say about all this overanalysis?
What's that?
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
And there you go.
Coming up, a professional athlete that went full Bart Simpson?
Yeah.
And it worked? We'll explain next. Golic and Wingo.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Congratulations, Villanova, City of Philadelphia, again. And to Cliff, question being, why in the world did he choose Monday to take off?
Yeah, again,
that's a great point.
Golic and Wingo is presented by Post-it Extreme Notes. Communicating in tough conditions just got easier. While we talk about Devin losing the staff NCAA bet here. Cliff won, and when you win, you get to pick a day off, and he chose Monday before the national title game was even played because he had already locked up the win to take it off. So that was pretty bold by Cliff on his part, and now he wants to fire the Philadelphia 76ers coach right now, who's got them in the playoffs as the 4 seed, and hire Jay Wright.
No, Cliff, no.
Yeah.
I mean, you're winning. Everything's working.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in Philadelphia is working since the Eagles won the Super Bowl, okay? Everything is working. Why are you messing with the mojo? Why would you want to mess with that mojo? I don't understand.
Jay Wright would be the first coach to get an NCAA championship tournament, championship in the tournament and an NBA Finals championship in the same year. Imagine that.
Stop.
Imagine we fire Brett Brown right now and hire Jay Wright.
No, stop that now.
All right,
stop.
Turn off your mic and tear the button off.
Yeah.
So you can't turn it back on.
That's no. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and that take right there is why Devin, our bubble boy, has come up with a new nickname for Cliff. He used to be Cookmaster because he was cooking on the board. He's now hashtag Philly Fraud.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Philly Fraud.
I agree with that.
So that he's got to own that now.
We're also getting a lot of people saying that they think that Jim Mora is trying to have the back of Josh Rosen by having him not go to Cleveland, that he's actually sticking up for him. Let me just tell you, he doesn't have his back.
No.
Okay,
I mean that's a nice way of
it is
thinking
a thought.
about it. By the way, I will say this, and people are going to have to deal with this. Cleveland's a real team now.
Yeah, they are.
GM John Dorsey, when he got there, he said we need to start getting real players. Look at everything he's done this offseason. They are getting real players.
Listen, I agree with that, but until it turns into W's, nobody's going to buy in. And you know what?
They're not going 1-31 the next.
They have every right. They have every right to not buy in, though.
Yeah.
They have every right to say, you know what? I'm going to take the wait and see approach because we've been waiting a long time and we ain't seen squat.
I get
it. They have every right to do that. I agree with you. I think they're going in the right direction. But a time or two before we've said that, and I've
never said that before.
There's been a time or two where I thought they made some good moves and it hasn't worked out. So while I agree, I do think they seem to be going in the right direction. I will wait until they actually put some numbers in the W column.
Look, 1-31 is hard to get around.
Yes, it is.
16 last year, but listen, they're going to win games this year. That much I can say with great certainty. Okay, we talked about this Bart Simpson thing.
Yes, we did.
Before, every episode of The Simpsons, Bart writes something on the board 100 times.
Yes, he does.
Cardinals' Dexter Fowler started the season, the outfielder, 0-13. So he went to Twitter, 0-13. Yeah, he went to Twitter and wrote 13 times, I will get a hit, I will get a hit, I will get a hit.
For every hit that he didn't get.
Exactly. And guess what happened?
Got a hit.
He got a hit.
Then
other people tried it. Josh Reddick of the Astros, who is batting a solid 111, wrote, I will get a hit. Guess what?
He got a hit.
He got a hit.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work for everybody, though.
No, Jose Ramirez from the Indians, he basically said, my turn, I will get a hit, I will get a hit, went all the way down the line and didn't get a hit.
It's not just about the tweeting.
How about that?
Is what we're trying to figure out.
If you tweet it enough, it will come true.
Yes, if you
build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. If you tweet it, it will happen.
Yeah.
So, good news for Dexter Fowler. He's off the schneid, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting.
In a repetition sport, and
yes.
God knows baseball and the at-bats is repetition. In a repetition sport like tennis, repetition sport like golf, something that you love.
Yes.
What I would imagine players at times, if they're in a rut, go to extremes, to try and get out of said rut or change things up.
Remember in Bull Durham, they needed a live chicken to break a curse.
Yeah.
So, they were looking for a live chicken and trying to find out what made the best wedding gift. I think it was candlesticks.
Right.
So, you go through anything, and that's the line for the movie. If you think you're getting a hit because you're wearing women's underwear, then that's why you're doing it.
There you go.
Okay?
Right. So it's the mental part of the game.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about 162 games, the good news is you're going to get your opportunities, but it's always tough when guys start out slow.
Yeah.
You see those numbers at the beginning of the year, and you're thinking, my God, is it ever going to go the other way?
And you're also you go through whole spring training, and then you start off the season with that slump, and you're like, wait a minute, I have to change something right off the bat. I have to mix this up. Probably more than just tweeting, I will get a hit 13 times before you finally get a hit.
And then you get to the worry, okay, am I changing up too much because I'm trying to get it's like what we always say in a football game. The hardest points to score are the first ones.
Yep.
You know, you go all through these things, you try and get those points, and once you've scored points, you're like, oh, we can score.
Okay, we can do this. We did it. We can do it again.
It's the exact same thing with baseball. If you start the 0 for 4, then the next game is 0 for 3, and you're 0 for 10, you're like, just give me one.
Something.
A little bleeder.
C&I hit.
Something will work. All right, how about this comparison? Is Villanova to the NCAA what Golden State is to the NBA? We'll talk about that.
It's March, and that means one thing. Basketball, basketball, basketball. Did you know that college players who wear a number 1 jersey dunk the most? Or that juniors block the most shots per minute? Or that teams with cat mascots have caused the most upsets? The NCAA is using Google Cloud to turn more than 60 years of data into insights and answers. Now, you and your business can do the same. Know what your data knows. See how at g.co/March Madness. Google Cloud, the official cloud of the NCAA.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Let's get someone whose job it is to know these kind of things, talk about that. And we're delighted to bring in Bruce Pearl, Auburn head coach, 2-time SEC coach of the year, a BC grad, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, a really good talk. Bruce is with us this morning. Bruce, what was your takeaway from what you saw last night?
Well, guys, the best team won. The 2 best coached teams in the country were standing at the end. Those 2 teams do what their coach has them do. They've got a real understanding of each other and how to play the game the right way. But Villanova was better, and they with the exception of maybe Wagner, they were better at every position. And I thought Michigan got off to a great start. They did the things they needed to do, and maybe scared a few people early. But Villanova so balanced on both ends of the floor, offensively, defensively. You know, you could just see that shining through.
So Villanova takes that lead, that 9-point lead at halftime. At what point in the second half, as everybody was seeing if Michigan could come back, in your mind did you say, you know what, don't see it happening now, I think Villanova is going to close this out?
Mike, first 5 minutes, when Villanova started making shots like they were making shots and Michigan didn't have any answer, you know, Michigan's a team that controls tempo. They play on a lead. They play on a tight ball game. They don't have the kind of offensive firepower once they got down. I thought at halftime they were in trouble. I thought when Barkley said at halftime it's over, it really was. But look, early in the game, Michigan goes to Wagner. He scores 4 out of 5. They go at Spellman, the freshman from Villanova. They're up 21-14. I mean, they did, you know, kind of what they needed to do. But Villanova can guard you one-on-one on the perimeter. And those guys know how to help each other, and they know how to make rotations, and they just never panicked. And think about this: to win the game, when Villanova's best player, you know, Brunson, really kind of has an off night, and win it the way they did, just tells you the how balanced they were. And DiVincenzo coming off the bench, you know, it was historic, the numbers he put up coming off the bench.
Well, we've never seen it before as Bruce Pearl, Auburn head coach, is with us. And tune into the College Basketball Award Show Friday, April 6th at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN2. Brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2018 John R. Wooden Player of the Year. Jalen Brunson, one of those guys that's been racking up Player of the Year awards. And Bruce, to your point, the most interesting thing to me about this game was when Villanova put the game away, the Player of the Year was on the bench with foul trouble. And that showed you just how deep this team was.
It does, Trey, and I tell you what, that's just why you play the game. I mean, you know, that jumps out at you, that they won it with their best player sitting on the bench and their leader and their spiritual leader, their emotional leader, and that gives everybody else confidence when you don't have to rely on this, the best player. The other thing that jumps out at me is this, okay? I remember when Jay Wright first got into coaching. I'm old enough to been there when he first became a head coach. You know that he was on a hot seat at one time when he first got coaching. And you know, and look at him now. He's absolutely at the top of our game. Mike Krzyzewski, when he first got started at Duke, there was a time when the AD stayed with him, could have fired him, didn't. You know, he's at the very top of our game. Porter Mosier got fired at Illinois State and comes back to Loyola, and obviously look at the job that he does. And so part of it is being patient. You know, everybody wants it right now. Everybody wants to be great right now. You know, Mike, you weren't great right away. You had to pay your dues. You had to grind. and you had your moment, but weren't there times when guys could have given up on you as a player and said, no, I think Golic's going to work his ass off and he's going to become something great? I just think storylines like that are really what make the sport so special.
So going forward, tell us what happens now. Mikal Bridges, now he's ranked number 10. He's going to go. He's going to declare. I think everybody believes that. Brunson may as well. He's the AP Player of the Year. He's got a couple of titles now, but outside of Bridges, nobody else is like first round rated. So when a coach has the conversation with those type of players, I mean, how much do you want to talk them into coming back, thinking of the team you could have next year as opposed to what may be best for them?
Mike, that's a great question. You just simply do what's best for them, and then you let the chips fall in there. You right now you get really good information. In other words, the way we have this process, guys can declare for the draft, and as long as they don't hire an agent, they have until basically the beginning of May is the deadline. Actually, April 22nd is the deadline to put your name in. And then May 30th is the day to put to pull your name out. So for about 5 or 6 weeks, these guys are going to start working out. They'll go to the NBA Combine, and then they will know pretty close to within, let's say, 6 or 7 picks about where they might go. First round money, you got to stay. You absolutely got to stay. Or if you're in the second round, if you got no chance to work yourself up into a better draft pick the following year because your game is what it is what it is, then you might even want to go in the second round. But there is no guaranteed money in the second round. So what you do, you put the facts out there for the kids. This is what the pay scale is. And this is where you're going to go. You always make better decisions when you have more information. So right now, let's go get information. Let's go work out. Let's go listen to what they're telling us. Let's look at what the contract schedule is, and then see if it's the right thing for you to do. And then there are other factors involved. There may be some family hardship. A kid financially may need to take a chance and start to go get paid. But the one thing you don't do as a coach is you don't try to dangle the carrot of, hey, if you come back, we can win it again next year. That's you got to take that one off the table.
Bruce Pearl with us, Auburn head coach. By the way, Myron Metcalf, our esteemed college basketball writer, has you guys at number 5 in his way too early preseason top 25. So no pressure, Bruce.
There you go.
We'll see you in the Final Four next year.
Hey, Trey, all that depends on whether these kids I have about 4 or 5 guys. Yeah. They're going to put their name in the draft. And you know what? If they do come back, we got a chance to be pretty good. But if they don't, then you know what? We did our job. We got them to where they needed to be. We won an SEC championship. We made the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2003. We made some history. And if it's the best thing for them to do is to leave Auburn and go start their professional career, then that's what they'll do, and we will have done our job.
How about what does this say at all with the Final Four the way it was? And we know the big-time one-and-dones that none of them were there, at the end. Does this preach more to, hey, it's really teamwork that wins this thing over individual greatness, even though these guys are going to go on to, some to NBA fame?
Yeah, cream rises to the top. It does. But in a 40-minute game, in a one-and-done situation, you are starting to see with some consistency that the one-and-done thing doesn't necessarily get it done. I mean, you remember when Kentucky had, they had some squads that were clearly the best teams out there, and Wisconsin beat them a couple of years ago, in the Final Four. It's hard to get those young kids during the course of the season to be able to be completely bought in, to do the things that you need to do that teams like Villanova or Michigan or Loyola, we're doing Kansas, we're doing in the Final Four. An off season is an opportunity to learn so much from the pain that you experienced the year before. Okay, where did we come short? Where did we not execute down the stretch to be able to win a game? Maybe it was in transition defense or free throw shooting or some aspect, and then you work on that all summer long, and you come back for a second year, and you say, you know what, this is not going to happen to us again. Well, that doesn't happen with one and done because now they're off to the NBA, and there's just too great a learning curve. So the answer is you got to get the best players, but it's nice to have a balance. So if Kentucky brings back 3 or 4 of the one-and-dones, if a couple of the Duke kids come back, okay, those are the teams that you want to go to Vegas and put some money on to win it all next year because they got the combination of the talent and a little bit of returning experience.
Yeah, to your point, how different some teams are doing it. Jay Wright has coached 3 first-round picks at Villanova out of a total of 5 to get drafted. Randy Foye, Kyle Lowry, and Josh Hart. Last year alone, Duke and Kentucky both had 3 first-rounders. Yeah. So there are different ways to get to where you want to go and make it work, and certainly Jay Wright has found the secret sauce for him at Villanova. Bruce, we appreciate you getting up with us this morning. And again, no pressure. See you in the Final Four next year.
Look forward to it, guys. Your lips to God's ears.
Here's a little insider travel secret. There are tons of empty hotel rooms out there just waiting to be booked. That's why there's Hotel Tonight. Hotel Tonight partners with awesome hotels to help them fill their unsold rooms, which means you get incredible deals. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can actually book up to a week in advance and up to 100 days in advance in top destinations. So download the Hotel Tonight app to start scoring better deals at better hotels now.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
And again, this is one of the great weeks in sports because we seamlessly transition from the pinnacle of the college basketball season. We had the women's game Sunday, championship game, the men's game Monday, top of the line there. And then we go right into what many people consider to be the pinnacle of the entire golf year.
Right.
That would be the Masters. I will always lean towards the Ryder Cup. I think it's the greatest. I understand why people don't get it.
I dig the Ryder Cup. I'm with you.
It's a brawl.
Love the competition.
And
absolutely.
It's a team sport and not a team. It's great. But everybody gravitates toward the Masters, and rightfully so. It's the sign that, maybe spring is actually here. Please, oh, please, oh, please. As it's the first major of the year, and the azaleas are in bloom and all that stuff. And it's the first time in 3 years that Tiger Woods will be able to compete. Back, fused, disc out. The last 2 years, he could barely hobble around. It was really disheartening to see. But Tiger is not only playing, but he is the betting favorite. Now, I'm not buying any of that.
No, I'm not either.
I'm not buying any of that because there are other players that have been out there doing it better longer. But what do bettors do? They want people to gamble. So they want people to gamble with their heart more than their head. So that's why Tiger is the prohibitive favorite. But Tiger, the last time he played the Masters, 2015, tied for 17th. It was the last time he made a cut at a major, and then the last 2 years have just been disastrous. But now he's back, ready to roll, and he sat down recently with Marty Smith from Marty Smith's America podcast, and he talked specifically about what the Masters means to him.
Generally, Augusta has been a second-shot golf course. You can blow it anywhere you want. That's changed and evolved. Now it's a driving test. But still, when I get on each tee, I like the sight of it. I like the feel of it. And there's no better feeling going to that back nine with a chance to win. And you know it. And everyone else knows it. And to hear the roars, and you know who the roars are from. You know where the groups are located, who might be in such and such a group. Okay, well I know that's an Ernie roar.
Really?
I said, oh, that's definitely a Phil roar up
How?
there. Well, you just know how people cheer for certain people. Yeah, you can get a sense of that. And it's really neat, I think. that. And then when I've made a couple putts here and there and I've posted numbers, that's been really cool.
I thought it interesting, and I think more where he was getting at when he was explaining, he knows where the other guys are on the course.
Right.
So when you hear a cheer from that part of the course, you kind of know maybe who hit the shot or who did something. But like anything we talk about really in life, confidence in something. And is there a more confident course that he may be on as far as the majors are concerned? Well, obviously because the other ones change. We know that. But his confidence at Augusta and what he does, on that course and is able to do is pretty impressive.
By the way, Tiger is no longer the betting favorite. Jordan Spieth, DJ, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas are all 10-1. Tiger is 12-1, along with Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, who's been playing very well. But to the point about the roars, while I appreciate what Tiger was saying, I'm not sure I'm buying all of it.
Yeah.
Because anybody else will tell you there's really one roar that's more different than anybody else's, and that's his.
That's the Tiger roar?
That would be the Tiger roar.
Yeah.
Now, at Augusta, there is a big bastion of Phil Mickelson fans, and he's won it 3 times. including an amazing stretch 4, 5, 6. Phil won in 04, Tiger won in 05, and Phil won again in 06, and then Phil won it again in 2010. There is definitely a Phil roar. I'm not sure there's an Ernie roar anymore or some of these other guys, but I get what he was saying. When you're playing and you hear something, you know it had to be one or two players who bring those crowds out.
Yeah, where that person is on the course. And right now, Tiger's on the course with Phil and Freddie Couples again.
Yeah, that, by the way, is a very fascinating dynamic.
It is.
Because when Tiger was at his peak and Phil was literally the second guy.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of love lost there.
A lot of love between those two. And there was the infamous, I think it was 2004 Ryder Cup team where Hal Sutton, who was the champion, the captain, decided to pair Tiger and Phil together. He's like, we got the two best players on our team. What could go wrong? Everything
went wrong,
Nothing worked about that pairing. But one of the really interesting things about Tiger's comeback and his, second or third chance, really, if you think about it, with the back injuries and everything that he's had, is that their relationship has gotten so much better. They never would have practiced before.
No, I agree.
Never would have gone down that road. In fact, when Phil won a few weeks ago at the World Golf Championship in Mexico, one of the first congratulatory calls he got was from Tiger. And then when Tiger played well at the Valspar and well at the PGA National, the Honda, and obviously was in contention at Bay Hill, Phil was riding along. And that's a fun thing to see because as they get older.
Well, I think that's a key.
Yes.
As you get older, maybe you put things away from your youth a little bit. We're all hopefully a little wiser when we get a little older. And maybe you realize, man, that was kind of silly what was going on back then.
Yeah.
We're both in our 40s. What? Tiger's 42, Phil's 47? 47. So it's, time to maybe let's smell the roses as while we're playing
well. Smell the azaleas this week.
While we're playing well, it doesn't have to be all maybe that it was when we were younger and really getting after it.
Well, to that point, there was a great moment. I think it was at I think it was at the end of the year. I can't remember what event. It was before the FedEx was in play. It was not the Players Championship, but one of the things at the end of the year.
Tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it kind of does. But anyway, so they went through. They do on the first tee. They announce who these people are and all the things they've won. And Phil won a couple times that year, and then blah blah blah. With Phil Mickelson, they went, and now Tiger Woods. This, that, and it went on for like 15 seconds.
Yeah,
and they weren't done. Finally, Phil said, "All right," and the entire crowd broke up in laughter. But it was like, can we just get on with this? I get it. He's better than me. I understand. So there was that sort of like, I'm kidding, but I'm not really kidding.
And then it's almost, we saw it a couple of tournaments ago where guys that have to play with Tiger maybe aren't the happiest in the world about it, right?
Yeah.
Because of the crowd that's trailing them and the noise and the people saying stuff and the chatter that's going on. If Tiger's not hitting, there's probably more conversation amongst the crowd, and the crowd is bigger, and that could have a negative impact on the other players. So sometimes I think the other players are a little, you know what, I'd rather not be playing with Tiger and the crowd that follows him.
Well, listen, everybody will tell you that playing with Tiger Woods is in a class by itself because of the crowds that follow.
Not always good class.
No. And Rory McIlroy, who, by the way, blitzkrieged the field at Bay Hill and really is now one of the betting favorites and is a green jacket away from being the sixth golfer to win the four professional majors in their career, says he thinks that crowds along with Tiger Woods cost him a couple of shots around because of everything that's going on. It is a different circus. It is a different atmosphere that you are dealing with when you're playing with Tiger Woods. And if you're out there for the first time and you're not used to it, I mean, it will mess you up.
Oh, yeah,
it will absolutely mess you up. And that's the thing that I think that has been most impressive about Tiger over the years. When Michael Campbell won his only major, the U.S. Open at 2005 at Pinehurst, it was an amazing pressure-packed thing. And Tiger was in the hunt. I think he finished 1 or 2 strokes back that year, playing the group ahead of him. Michael Campbell, and Tiger at that point had won 10, I think, of his 14 majors. Michael Campbell went to Tiger and said, how have you done this 10 times? I mean, that's the thing that's been the most amazing thing about Tiger in this fishbowl when he was at his best, that he was able to put away on the course all this stuff and still focus and be excellent.
Well, I think one other thing, though, is Campbell's not used to it. Tiger is. I think that helps as well, is when you're in front of it time and time again, you kind of become numb to it a little bit. So, to me, the most important thing tonight is the dinner. that's going to be served.
Yes.
That Sergio Garcia got to pick.
We had him on when you were out last week. He wouldn't tell us what the menu was going to be.
And to me, the most important thing is the dessert.
Yeah.
What's the dessert going to be?
What would you, if you could pick one dessert, what would it be?
Sundae bar.
Sundae bar?
Yeah.
All right.
Sundae bar, without question.
All right. We want to get more into what actually would be in your dream Sunday at the Sundae bar at Augusta.
Okay. All right.
After this. Coming up, it is another title for the city of Philadelphia. Villanova cuts down the nets. And again, everybody should be thanking the Eagles. That's just the way it is. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Winning at sports and at sports broadcasting means changing things up.
Just like La Quinta Inns and Suites is changing up their look.
A renovated lobby that's so contemporary it even makes Golic look cool.
Yes, it does. And a totally updated fitness center that even has Wingo feeling like a workout.
I'm ripped. Plus plenty of comfortable spaces to hang out.
Yep, this La Quinta look definitely has a vibe of victory.
So you can just relax, refresh, and get ready for your next big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com. Well, the push for the playoffs has begun in the NBA, but the quest for the championship is over in college basketball as Villanova sealed the deal last night in San Antonio, taking down Michigan by 17 points. And we are delighted to be joined this morning on Golic and Wingo by the Player of the Year. I think he got 3 of those awards over the weekend and got the one he wanted the most, the national championship. Jalen Brunson, Villanova guard, joins us now on Golic and Wingo. Jalen, good morning. First of all, congratulations. And second of all, I always like to ask this question. How much sleep did you actually get last night?
Well, good morning to you guys, too. I think in total, it's been broken up, but probably about maybe an hour, 20 minutes maybe.
Well, you sound fresh as a daisy, though. So way to go, man.
That's exactly what we wanted to hear and exactly how it should be, no doubt about it. So, Jalen, for those of us that will never had the experience and then to even up the ante by you doing it twice, how do you compare both of your championships, one you won 2 years ago to last night?
I just think it's very hard to compare, but it's crazy how things come full circle. Being a younger guy, my freshman year, trying to fit in, trying to make sure I'm doing what the team needs, and not really worrying about myself. And then now being a leader on this year's team, and still focusing on the same thing, being locked in on what my team needs to be done, and really just not focusing on anything individually. And it's crazy what can come out individually for you. So just trying not to focus on that. It's crazy. So it's really hard to compare.
Jalen Brunson with us, a Villanova guard, averaged a team high 18.9 points per game this season, made 12 3-pointers in the NCAA tournament this year. And, Jalen, when the game was early and your offense was a little off, you were down at one point 21-14, then you made a couple of buckets to cut it to 3. I put this out there on Twitter. I said, Villanova is not playing well, and they're only down 3. I don't think this is going to end well for Michigan because it wasn't the same start you guys had against Kansas when you were making all those threes blindfolded. So when you saw that the offense wasn't quite going the way you wanted it to, and you were only down 3, did that give you guys some confidence that, hey, we're going to be just fine?
Oh yeah. We just try to make sure we're as positive as possible. We try to focus on our defense and rebounding the basketball as much as we can. That's what this program's prided ourselves on for so many years. And so even though we're not making shots, we're just still trying to find ways to make sure that we're focused on defending and rebounding, knowing that eventually they're going to go down.
So then in a game, different people can have the hot hand, and against Kansas, all of you had the hot hand. It was incredible. But watching your teammate Dante last night and just what he did in scoring 31, take us on the court there in when someone is just in the zone and basically hitting everything he's throwing up.
Well, first of all, it's not a surprise that Dante was able to do that. He has that ability, and just for that to come out during a national championship game, it's definitely pretty cool to see one of your best friends do that. But when we see somebody like that, we just try to play through him, and we know that we all play together. We all really don't care who's getting the credit. Just really trying to make sure that we're all in this together and just playing off each other.
Well, that's certainly working as Jalen Brunson, Villanova guard, player of the year 3 times over, joins us now on Golic and Wingo. So here's the real question, though, when it comes to Dante DiVincenzo, because Jay Wright couldn't give us a straight answer. Did he start calling him the Michael Jordan of Delaware, or did somebody else start calling Dante the Michael Jordan of Delaware first?
To be honest, I don't know the answer to that question at all. I believe I thought it was Coach Wright, but I could be mistaken. But so I don't know where that actually came from.
But you guys do call him that, right?
Just to get on his nerves.
Yeah, there it is.
I was going to say that's more to get on the nerves thing, no doubt about it. So, Jalen, in this game, as I thought a lot of people were watching it last night, can Michigan give Villanova a game? And then I think it ended up how a lot of people thought. How about for you on the court? Was there a point in that second half where you felt, you know what, Michigan just is not going, they just are not going to be able to come back on us? Did you get that feeling at some point in the second half?
Honestly, no. We knew that Michigan was a really good team, and then they were going to be able to fight through the end of the game. And so, I mean, as the game kept going on, we just knew that we just needed to keep defending and rebounding, and not really worrying about is this going to be it? We just try to make sure we're playing hard for 40 minutes, and because you know how good they are. I mean, they deserve to be there. But we were just trying to sit together as much as possible, and not really worrying about anything else.
Well, you certainly were able to do that. And the thing that was amazing, Jalen, as we were watching this game play out, is that it was always somebody else with Villanova. You hit shots early, and then we saw Dante come in, and then Gillespie came in and did something. Then Bridges hit some big shots. It just felt like whenever Michigan had a chance to maybe get it to within a manageable distance in the second half, somebody else stepped up for Villanova. What does that say about your team?
It just shows you how together we are, and how we don't really care who's getting the credit for anything. I mean, this is a special group of guys who really did the impossible, and I'm just so thankful I'm a part of this team. And when you have a group of guys who are so talented on both ends of the floor who don't really care who's getting the credit, a lot of great things can happen, and we're just so thankful we have each other.
Talking to Jalen Brunson, Villanova guard, 2 national titles, AP Player of the Year, a couple of Player of the Year awards, a Wooden Award coming up. We'll see what goes on there. So what's next for you? I mean, what's next for you, whether it's the NBA, whether it's coming back? What's your process going to be?
Well, first, I can't wait to get back to Villanova to be with my community. And I know they've done a great job of supporting us, so I'm so thankful to be a part of it. And once I get back there, I'm just going to enjoy it with my teammates because, we deserve it. So, that's the only thing on my mind right now. And once we get to that bridge, we'll cross it.
Are you a cheesesteak guy? Going to be delving into those a little bit?
I don't know. I'm still going to try and keep eating healthy as much as possible without, while I'm taking a little rest. But if I do, I'll go to Ishkabibble's down South Street.
There you go. You just won the national championship,
You're allowed
man.
a cheesesteak.
Take a break on the diet for a day, man. Enjoy.
It's a championship cheesesteak Wednesday when you get back there. That's for sure. Hey, listen. One of the most amazing things, Jalen, that sort of came out of this tournament is not only what Dante was able to do off the bench, but you guys won every single game in March on by double digits. The only other teams to accomplish that feat and win a national championship, the San Francisco Dons of 1956, who are led by Hall of Famer Bill Russell, and the 1967 UCLA Bruins, led by Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When you hear that, and your team is in that category with those two teams, that means what exactly?
It's special. It's really special, and just to see this group of guys really just lock in and really be committed to each other and not really worrying about anything else. It's crazy what things can happen when you're not really focused on anything else. Besides your teammates. So.
It's been great. It was a lot of fun. Jalen, go get some sleep and get a cheesesteak. Congratulations on winning a second title in 3 years.
Thanks, Jalen.
Thank you so much.
Jalen Brunson with us. And don't forget, tune into the College Basketball Awards Show Friday, April 6th, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN2, brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the John R. Wooden Player of the Year Award.
Good for him. One thing about this group of guys, today's athletes, they eat so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, go have yourself a cheesesteak, man.
I think he'll celebrate with a
I
cheesesteak.
hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
They eat so well.
That's a problem for you.
Yes, especially in a joyous situation. Struggle with that.
All the things that these athletes today are worried about, he's concerned about they don't enjoy enough bad food.
They're eating so well.
Good to know. As we've said, by the way, it's the seamless transition from the tournament to the Masters. Tomorrow in Golic and Wingo, 6-time Masters winner Jack Nicklaus will join us. What a week we're having. We'll see you later.
It's March, and that means one thing. Basketball, basketball, basketball. Did you know that college players who wear a number 1 jersey dunk the most? Or that juniors block the most shots per minute? Or that teams with cat mascots have caused the most upsets? The NCAA is using Google Cloud to turn more than 60 years of data into insights and answers. Now, you and your business can do the same. Know what your data knows. See how at g.co/March Madness. Google Cloud, the official cloud of the NCAA.